Why, hello there, lovely listeners and viewers. You are back down the red rabbit hole. I'm not sure why you keep coming back, but you do. I suspect it's the author guest that Lisa keeps kidnapping. But hey, you're probably here for me and her too, right? Right? You better be. So we've got today a lovely author, Rosie Walker, with us. Rosie, hi.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk loads of true crime today.
Oh yes, we've got lots and
Yay!
lots, haven't we, Lisa?
Absolutely, that's what we're here for.
That's all we have.
Pretty much,
Literally
yeah.
all
Yeah,
we have.
in life, yeah.
So, Rosie, you've got a book out called The Bride's Secret, and it's got a couple of big research points that you've kind of looked around, which is obviously what we're all about down the red rabbit hole. And but before we start, can I just say, was your abduction reasonably comfortable?
I've still got a little bit of rope burn, but I think it'll
Oh,
be over
okay.
tomorrow.
It was the stairs. I'm really sorry. I'm just not as strong as I used to be, and going down all those stairs. But sorry. We should have left it as a muddy tunnel. We just got them installed. Apologies.
Oh, we
Oh
wanted
no,
that
why
decking.
ooh? I was just thinking, yeah, I want decking out
We
the
wanted the decking. I
front.
think it's we
Yeah.
saw a bit of sun. We were like, let's have some decking down here. And off we went to B&Q. Other stores are available, but we went to B&Q, and next thing we know, we've got decking in with the makings of a fire
Don't
pit.
don't do it at any other point in the year. Only when the sun is shining, the
Yes.
prices are inflated, and putting
Yeah.
it together is going to be absolutely hideous in the sun.
That's all it
Ah,
is.
all
And
the
oh my God,
above.
I so forgot to introduce Lisa Shepherd, our therapist,
Oh, that's all
comedian,
right.
yeah,
It's
an
all right.
actress,
Just kind
and
of just
DIYer, it sounds like.
I just came in like I usually do. Just came crashing in with no introduction. I'm here.
Well, Rosie, why don't you start us off by telling us a little bit about the bride's secret? Obviously, you don't need to tell us the bride's secret, no spoilers.
No spoilers, no. So the bride's secret, blurry. It
Ooh.
won't.
You might
Bring
have
it
to put
back,
it
Got my
right
bring
in
it
blur
front
back.
of
on.
you. You might have
It's
to put
got to
it
be,
like right
yeah,
here.
right in
It's
front
going
of
to
your
be right in
face.
front of your face. Oh no, it's still. Oh, there
There
it
we
is.
go.
We
Got
can see it, we
Got
can
it.
see it.
So the bride's secret, which I won't hold up because apparently it doesn't work when you're trying to hide the mess behind you,
Mm.
um, is a book about a woman called Maeve who wakes up on the morning of her wedding day next to her fiance, and when she turns to kind of greet him good morning, she realizes that he's dead. But not only is he dead, he's covered in blood, and the knife that was used to kill him is in her hand. And she knows that this looks incredibly suspicious and that she is likely going to be blamed for this murder. Um, and so she goes on the run. And one of the reasons that she goes on the run is because she has a history of sleepwalking, and she is genuinely quite afraid that she maybe did kill him.
Way
Ooh.
to go to reduce suspicion there, Maeve. Don't just just don't go and talk to the police. Don't call anyone. Don't just okay. I better skedaddle now.
Yeah, it is a little bit incriminating, it's true.
Did he deserve it though, Rosie?
I don't think he did. I think he was quite a
No?
good man. No.
Oh, oh. That ruins my revenge plot that I was just.
I know. But it's funny because I didn't really meet him. I know that sounds very strange considering I wrote the book, but because he's dead on page one, and there's really, like
Oh,
it's not that many flashbacks. It's more about like the forward propulsion of the story. That like when you say is he a nice man, I'm like, well, he probably was.
so she wasn't like triggered that night by him saying, I want a Chinese takeout. And she was like, no, I want Indian. And then she was like, I will kill you while you sleep.
Maybe he just left his socks on the sofa. That was
Oh,
final too many.
that would do it.
Yeah,
Little piles of clothes everywhere.
little piles of anything everywhere
Just putting
is my
something next to
heading.
the bin, but not in the bin.
Yes. Oh my God.
Oh, oh.
What is wrong
Like
with them?
just an inch further. It's just like just a little bit more work. You can do it. You can do it. The feminist in me is really enjoying the fact that he's literally just a corpse in the
He's a
story, and that this is a woman's story, and the action moves forward from there.
he's a motivational object. That's all he is.
I
That's
did
it.
have a moment where it wasn't with this book, with a different book. And I said something to one of my editors and I said, like, what about this man in the story? And she's like, oh, I forgot about him. It's because I don't really care about men, to be honest. And I was like,
We've had a lot more female authors,
We
haven't
have.
we? On I think is that sort of indicative of the area? Or do we have more thriller fiction female authors?
I think psychological thrillers are mostly women because
Mm.
it's like more of a domestic
Noir kind of,
story, and
yeah.
often the main characters are women. And I think if you look at different subgenres of thriller, like action thrillers, for instance, spy thrillers, mostly probably male authors. But I think the things that are in like the family space and about marriages and kids and stuff is probably dominated by women. There are a lot of excellent men writing in the space, but I think mostly women.
Excellent. I'm very pleased with that. Very, very happy with that. And I think it's because we do have that insight into it, I suppose, a little bit more. Whereas, do you think the men actually, what rabbit holes do you think they go down to write their actions, to write their action sequences?
What kind of ammo would my character need for this fight scene? Like, what kind of car is going to be involved in this chase?
God, their job is
I'm
so
going to
much
have to go
easier.
go go down the local barracks and ask somebody. I'm going to have to go and meet up with the SAS now, get this information.
Do you know what? That I would really respect a male author that just deliberately went out and got his butt kicked just to see what it was like.
Yeah. Oh, God, you wrote that really good fight scene that you wrote there. How did you research
One-handed, he
that
wrote
one?
it. One-handed.
Yeah. I wrote it from my hospital bed.
Nothing else to do.
That would be commitment, wouldn't it?
That
I
would be
mean, we've
commitment.
seen we've seen some pretty committed authors on those red rabbit
Yeah,
holes.
we have. So,
Researching.
Rosie, what research did you commit to with the bride's secret?
Well, the call center part is based on, well, not completely, obviously, but is based on my experiences volunteering for a helpline.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Ooh.
But you did mention sleepwalking.
Yeah, well, apparently I did sleepwalk apparently when I was a child.
Did you?
Yeah, just a couple of times, like things like my mum put me to bed, and then later when she went up to bed, found me in their bedroom fast asleep in my mum and dad's bed. But I have no recollection of that, and I think I used to talk in my sleep a bit as well, but not as an adult. And I think a lot of people who sleepwalk, it's if they're going through something, if there's like something stressful in their everyday life, I think it tends to crop up for them.
Hmm.
But I tend to stay in my bed, but I don't sleep very well. So I think maybe you have to be quite a deep sleeper. Whereas I would probably wake myself up getting out of bed. But oh, it's cold. Oh, I'm awake.
There was an app for a little while that you could use that would turn itself on. I think it was called Sleep Talk or something, the app. And I used to set that up sometimes and record myself sleep talking in the night.
No. Oh
And
no.
talking to my partner. That our favorite one was when I think he went, "US inject us in Keimer," and I went, "Okay, this way." So he said something completely nonsensical, and then I just answered him, going, "Okay, this way," like we were sharing some sort of fantasy dreamscape together.
That's brilliant.
Doesn't that
It
really
was
set you up for like Paranormal Activity 20 or something, you know?
Maybe. I did think it was a pretty dangerous app, though. I reckon they've stopped it now because you can imagine if you wanted to get a conversation of somebody, just set it off because you could set it off for hours. You could set it off so it would, record the whole night and it would just click on when it heard a voice and start recording. So if you wanted to hear what someone else was saying, you could slip it into a certain place and leave it there and let it and wait for the conversation to unfold.
There's a thriller in that. Like,
Yeah, I was just thinking that because you could hear someone plotting a murder, can you? But then
Mm.
how conscious is the unconscious mind? Because I mean that what you're saying must be coming from your unconscious mind because you're not awake. So your conscious mind is not doing anything.
But then mine was responding. So is there a
Yeah.
sense of, or is that an unconscious response? Is
Or
that
maybe
just so ingrained in us as a social
you were
being that
both
I would
just
respond?
talking. Maybe you didn't respond. Maybe you were just saying that anyway. Maybe you'd have said that if you'd have
Yeah,
said
it was different.
pink kitten doo-doo or something, and you'd have been like, okay, this way.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. His definitely sounded like, because he quite likes like Warhammer figures and
Yeah.
fantasy and all that sort of stuff. So he's definitely sounded like he was somewhere out on some sort of fantastical battlefield somewhere, wasn't he? US Injectus and Geimer.
Patronus.
And I was probably in some sort of more domesticated thriller. Okay, this way, quick. Hide. We gotta go. Yeah, so I think is sleepwalking, isn't it something to do with there is a hormone that will paralyze you at night. So it paralyzes the body so the mind can go off and do the dreaming and stuff and nothing happens to your body. But for some people that hormone doesn't quite click in and then that's what means that you can move. That means what you might get up and start to enact things from your dream.
Yeah, that sounds right. And I think so. The inspiration for the kind of sleepwalking element of the book was a news story that I saw on The Guardian. It was during a court case was ongoing, where I saw this article, and it was about a man, kind of an elderly man, who was being tried for the murder of his wife. And the thing that stuck out for me about the story was that his children, I think he had two sons, were both at the trial and they were supporting their dad, even though he was being tried for the murder of their mum. And they very, very firmly believed that he was innocent, because he had said he had absolutely no recollection of what he had done. And he was distraught about it. And it turned out, I think he was acquitted. And he was acquitted because he was on a new medication. And the medication they believed the court in the end decided that the medication was the reason that he had sleepwalked and that he had done that, and that it wasn't any kind of conscious or intentional violence from him. And he was acquitted, and he retained his relationship with his children. And but then it stuck in my mind long, long after I'd read it, because I could not imagine what it must feel like to know that you did that, even if you didn't intend to. You have to live with that for the rest of your life. And if you're not a person that had intended to kill or even hurt anybody, that's something massive to live with, and it's not his fault. And so yeah, that stuck in my mind for years, and that was where and it just like, and sometimes when you're planning a novel, you kind of need two elements to align that inspire you and that can kind of create this whole idea. And that was one half of it, was this: what happens if you kill somebody you really love and you don't remember it.
But what a great
Were they in a-
excuse to have find that tablet. That's just a little bit of research on Google as to the medication, and then going to the doctor and claiming that you have symptoms of something, and then giving you that medication, and then you don't use the medication, you flush it down the toilet and commit the murder. I'm not
Absolutely
saying he did that,
knew you
obviously.
would come in with that suggestion, Nikki. I was going to say, were they in a camper van? Were they in a camper or were they
I think it
camping?
might have been.
Yeah, was
Yeah.
it Brian Thomas?
That sounds right, yeah.
And yeah, they were in Wales camping, I think, or in a camper van or something. And then,
God, that'd be
yeah.
enough to set you off to
Well,
murder,
yeah,
wouldn't it?
imagine sleepwalking while you're camping. If you go off for a wander, you
Dangerous.
might end up in a stream somewhere. Like, you get out, try and get out the tent if you can figure it out in the middle of the night. But what you're saying, Rosie, about that kind of having to live with the guilt of doing something like that. I often think about that for people who have that kind of psychotic break, and then they're literally in a place of psychosis. They don't know what they're doing. They commit a crime, often involving their family, and then when they kind of realize what's happened, not only are they being punished for it, literally for the punishment they should are due, but also for the fact that not they're mourning, not just mourning their family, but mourning their family and living with the guilt of what they did.
Oof, yeah. And even
Mm.
worse, there were some cases that I found while I was researching of people who woke up like partway through, or like having just done it, like still hands around the neck kind of. And then so that's like absolute, like double, triple the trauma of Brian Thompson is knowing that. There was also a case that I read about of a guy who woke up partway through. I can't remember whether it was his partner or his mother-in-law or his mom. But he finished her off.
He was just like,
Oh,
oh, well, I'm halfway there. I might as well.
Yeah.
well,
I feel like that wasn't quite the accident that sleepwalking could be described as.
No. That wasn't the guy that claimed that he was dreaming that his family was being attacked by mad emus or something. Do
yeah,
you
Might
remember we
be.
covered
you guy.
it was emus, wasn't it? Because we were like, how violent are emus? And we were like, actually pretty violent when you look into it. But he had like a hatchet or something, and he just went nuts. He killed his wife, he killed his mother-in-law, and yeah, he claimed that he thought his family was being attacked by crazy emus. But
I
And
don't
then
think I believe him.
no, I don't think I believe him either. I
well,
mean,
it
if
was.
you've got the fourth, to grab a hatchet, because in your dream you might as well be grabbing like a bit of French bread or something, and you just don't know, do you?
Yeah. Or there's the people who like wake up and they've driven 10 miles to their in-laws' house and happen to murder them in their sleep.
Yes.
Then they wake up after they get back home. Like,
We
really?
definitely discussed that one, didn't we? Because
Yes.
I was just thinking, when you said in-laws, I was thinking, I'm sure when we looked at sleepwalking crimes before, there were several that were committed against mother-in-laws.
Hmm.
Yeah. Mm. Do you think they
Excuses.
have some sort of special dispensation in court or something? Oh yeah, the mother-in-law.
Oh,
Yeah.
the mother-in-law, wasn't it?
Well, you were halfway doing the
Oh,
job,
you were
so
you drowsy? You were, let's say you were
yeah.
asleep. You said you were tired earlier on in your statement. We'll say you were asleep. It's your mother-in-law. We understand.
And you'd taken some ibuprofen. Oh, it's that new medication. Yeah, that'll do.
Oh no. But that would be a really great excuse to look that up because there's going to be, I mean, every medication, no matter what it is, has got some form of side effect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Everything.
true.
And obviously it can also affect different people differently, can't it? Depending on sort of body chemistry.
Yeah. And probably age and even like whatever the ailment is that you're taking the medication for
Mm.
could have an impact there.
Suppose your own kind of stress response as well. Because, like you said, Rosie, if you're more stressed, you're more likely to sleepwalk. I think it's because your brain at night time, it's like flushing, cleaning itself. It does this process, again, related to hormones, but it kind of like that's a little bit what dreaming is kind of the flushing and kind of the cleaning of the brain, the processing of everything that's happened in the day or is happening to you. So if you are more stressed, you are more likely to dream because you're often thinking about, you've literally got something on your mind and your brain's trying to sort of process it and deal with it at night time.
Mm.
You'd be
And
more
probably being in a
likely.
new place as well. Like Brian Thompson was in the camper van. Like it made
Yeah.
me think that wouldn't have happened to him maybe if he was in his own house, like in his own bed.
Yeah. Maybe he would have had, well, he might have had a bit more space just to walk away. It's just in
Mm.
a camper van, he bashed into the wall, turned around. There was nowhere else to go. No space.
Back to murdering the wife.
Yeah.
Oh well, might as well carry on then. But also that's a massive frustration of kind of camper vans, isn't it? Like literally, especially those you go to those sort of holiday camps and you hire one, and literally you're like this for the whole time you're there with one another, aren't you? Because there is no space to move.
Enough to
Just
drive
had
anyone to
enough.
murder.
Hmm.
Yes.
Stress you out so much, you'll murder someone in your sleep.
It's a
Yeah.
risk.
Does that sound like a really bad like promotional line for a holiday company? Like, we give you so much room, you couldn't murder someone in your sleep if you tried.
I'm not booking that one then. I'm going away with the mother-in-law.
Yeah.
I've got my medication sorted.
Well, that's all we
Got
ask.
a deadly concoction of vitamins and medication. And
And a
now I just need
hatchet.
to fall asleep. Yeah, I'm taking my trusty hatchet.
Watching those deadly emu videos before you go down for the night.
Freaking myself out with emus. It's a perfectly planned crime.
Death by
The
emu.
perfect murder.
I think we've planned the perfect murder there. There's definitely
I'm
something in this.
I'm not sure it's the perfect murder. Just put that out there. I think it's probably just a fun one.
Yeah, I'm not sure how we're covering
I
our
don't think
tracks
we'd
here.
get away with it. Yeah.
Well, not if we right, stop the recording. We need to scrap this.
Yeah, start again.
Oh my God.
What we're
Rosie, who do
definitely
you want
not
to
doing
kill?
is
I think there's plenty of us that want to kill our editors.
well, maybe Rosie's just really unhappy with her mother-in-law, so I heard.
Oh,
No.
No, Mum, no, my mother-in-law is not getting murdered lately. She's lovely.
So Rosie, you were talking about she woke up next to a dead body. And I desperately tried to find a true crime case where that happened, and I couldn't. Did you find anything? Apart from the sleepwalking cases, did you find anything where someone didn't know exactly what had happened?
I don't think I did. I don't think I looked it up, you know. I think I was still kind of I was so kind of focused on like could she have been sleepwalking that I
Mm.
didn't ask the Google whether somebody had like woken up next to a body and whether they would be able to sleep through that as well if it wasn't committed by themselves, if it was committed by somebody else.
Well,
Um,
I mean, I Googled for about 2 hours at the weekend to try
whoa.
and find something. I know I go down those rabbit holes and I stay down those rabbit holes, no matter how dark and hot they are. And all it kept pushing up to me was people that had woken like after being declared dead.
Oh,
And
huh.
there was a lot of those cases, a lot of those cases, a scary amount of like now
Gosh.
as well, because you'd kind of think we've moved past that. But there was one where some guy had been declared dead by three separate doctors and woke up in the morgue.
And did he like what I when I hear stories like that, I always wonder like how many of their kind of essential faculties do they still have? Because presumably they've not been breathing and their heart hasn't been beating, or if it has, it's been so faint that there must be some brain damage or something, right?
Well, most of them, no. I mean, there was one woman that, an elderly woman that woke up in the morgue and she said she just had dreams of being really cold. And she was like compass mentis enough to say that and to be like that. But what was really scary is that one guy woke up on the autopsy table.
Oof.
That is like a horrific kind of, you
Mm.
know. But yeah, I just and what was really, really concerning was one of the articles I came across. So this was, I mean, I don't go more than sort of 3 pages deep on Google, but one of the nearest articles was, is it legal to leave the morgue if you wake up dead from being dead? It's like, I think it is. I don't think you're,
If you've
but
been
Yeah.
declared dead, are you allowed back into the
are you
population?
allowed to
I'm
leave the
afraid we're
morgue?
just going to have to kill you now because we've declared you dead. It's on the
Yeah,
paperwork. We're
we
sorry.
cannot take that paperwork back. That's
I was,
bureaucracy for you.
I was thinking like, fight or flight and all those sort of things, and that we have that kind of animal. And some animals, if you catch them, they will go into such a freeze. They'll like almost petrify, won't they? They'll literally like sometimes if you catch a bird or something that's, oh, I've saved a bird from the cats kind of thing. It'll just sit there completely frozen. Sometimes if you leave it alone, it will fly away again. So I wonder if humans, have this sort of same capacity. Some people do. Maybe it's something we've evolved out of, but maybe at one point we were so able to kind of shut down to protect ourselves in a life-threatening situation that we could appear dead.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I'd wondered whether it was the cold environment of the morgue might kind of, if your body is in a certain state, then it kind of preserves the life that you have at that point where you're put into the morgue. If you've still got a bit of a heartbeat and a bit of breathing, then you're kind of in suspended animation. Because they do that sometimes with some illness. I'm calling upon all my medical knowledge from Grey's Anatomy, where they have to like
The
they have
perfect
to lower
source.
people's body temperature in certain illnesses in order to kind of stop the progression of something. And maybe
Mm.
for those people who did wake up in the morgue, it was the cold that meant that they didn't die and that they actually their body managed to kind of repair itself in the cold conditions enough for them to regain consciousness again.
Yeah. I mean, there was a quite
Wow.
a not a lovely story. That's probably putting it in the wrong light, but there was a story where there was a newborn baby that had been born dead, put in the morgue, and 2 days later woke up.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
They were lucky they had a bit of a backlog there and didn't go burying like
Yeah.
straight away.
Gosh,
But
yeah.
that, that
Yeah.
to me was like miracle. But there is, if you permit me, a supernatural explanation for this, as I tend to. I know.
Oh, okay.
To drop down a very brief weird warren, there is a theory about it as well that I came across, and it's all about travelers. And there's a big kind of theory within the kind of supernatural realms about different dimensions that are on top of our own, because we can only perceive certain frequencies, we can only hear certain frequencies. So there's stuff going on around us that we've got no clue is actually going on. There could be entities within those areas that, again, we're not perceiving. We can't hear, we can't see, we can't touch because they're not within our kind of frequency. And that they have a chance to experience our world by jumping into available bodies. That's why sometimes when someone's in like a really bad accident and they go into a coma and then they wake up again, people say that they're not the person that they were when they went in. It's just one of those kind of theories to kind of cover that, to say it was a completely different person that comes out.
What do you think?
Me?
Yeah, do you agree with that theory?
I think I'd like, the thing is, I'd like to believe in the supernatural. I'd prefer some hard evidence. I'm not kind of woo-woo or anything. I would like some hard evidence of some stuff. But I have seen a ghost and I can't explain. There are certain things that I just cannot explain. And I'd love to, and I'd love to find an explanation for it. But also part of me is like, I'd like to think we do live in a slightly magical world, that there's just a little bit more to life than chaos and crap.
Gonna lay the sounds of like birds into that section of this when we edit it later. I'm going to take from that the excuse. So next time that maybe someone's talking and I don't want to listen to them, I'm going to go, I'm ever so sorry, but we're not on the same frequency. I'm on a different frequency.
I
I'm
can't
in a
hear you
different
or see you
realm.
anymore.
So I'm really sorry.
You want that on a t-shirt? Oh my God, that's the start of our merch line.
Yeah.
I'm on a different frequency to you. Do not engage.
I think there's so much of our brain and there's so many things that we have yet to explore of what we actually know exists in reality, that I think there probably are things that the body can do, or things that the brain in particular can do, that we know nothing about. Potentially.
What about you, Rosie? Are you more me than Lisa, or more Lisa than me?
I think I agree with Lisa. I think there are a lot of things that we don't understand.
Oh, end interview. Just kidding.
I'm not really very paranormal, supernatural kind of in my beliefs. But I think I'm open-minded. If I experienced something, then I wouldn't shut down all paranormal or supernatural options straight away. But I think my kind of open-mindedness is more geared towards like what we can sense as humans, I think is quite limited. And I think there's probably more going on around us that our senses can't take in. And I think sometimes we can kind of pick up on things that we can't explain because of that.
Well,
I
mean,
like
the
that.
human brain is pretty lazy as well, isn't it? They say that we're only actually taking in 60% of our surroundings at any one point of what's actually there, because the brain is like, well, I've seen this room before, so I know where everything is, so I'm not going to take it in. Because it's always trying to conserve calories. It's always trying to just keep, its main job is keep you alive and keep you ticking over. So anywhere it can cut a corner, it will. So a lot of what you think you're seeing is actually just memory and assumption.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that kind of, yeah, that fits. I like that.
What's in the 60%, eh?
Yeah. And what's happening because isn't the kind of theory that we only use about 10% of our brains and the rest is kind of just kind of there. What that other 90% could do if we
And
let it.
has done in the past. I think evolutionary, like you say, we're using it for survival, aren't we? So we're only ever doing what we need with it. I was even thinking about like the time when they were inventing everything, like that time when, the person who went, oh, if I crush this wheat, I can make flour, like all that time of discovery, the very, very early kind of beginnings of civilization, all the things they used to need to do the brain there. If you took somebody with the brain then and put them now, it'd obviously be completely overwhelmed. But also, if you took somebody from now and put them there, would we have the same kind of curiosity and thought process and logic to kind of figure these things out? To kind of, who thought, let's try this and see if it works, like, let's mix these berries together and see what happens. Oh no, that's a death concoction, but mark that off the list. Let's go on to the next one. But you know what I mean? Like there must have been a time, like there's been, we've come from having nothing, fire, well, we found fire, to we can make, supercomputers and we got some digital being now that can tell us the answers to all the questions, absorbs information and tells it back to us.
I think
Yeah.
about this a lot in the context of bread. Or the amount of trial and error that must have, like every time I
Yeah.
think about bread, I'm like, wow, someone invented this.
And I'm not alone in that. There's not just me who sometimes goes, "Whoa!" like
How
about
did
the
they
things
do
that we
this?
have.
Yeah. And then what's really interesting in this context is things where the invention happened almost at exactly the same time, but in multiple different places.
Yeah,
Like the
Yeah.
wheel. The wheel, I think, was
yeah,
invented a few times all at the same in the kind of similar era, and the television invented in two separate places at the same time.
yeah.
And so it
And
must have
then,
been like humanity was ripe for that. And is that because our technology had advanced to that point and it was a natural next step? Or was it because like our brains or humanity's brains had evolved and were ready to invent that kind of thing? And or both, you know.
mm, I
Or
think that
collective
the
consciousness, eh?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Bring the
Ooh,
supernatural into it again.
ooh.
Yes.
Yeah, collective consciousness.
or
Or
that
aliens. I mean, let's just put that out there if we're
Yeah.
going to go down.
Telepathy.
Or as Lisa was alluding to, some sort of time traveling time loop.
yeah,
And
yeah,
Ooh.
someone from the
someone went
future
back and
goes
went,
back and
"Hey,
says,
you'll really like it."
"This is how you make a croissant." And everyone's like,
Yeah.
I'm here
let's
from the future. I'm
yeah,
here to
Also,
show you how to
didn't
curl this
we
pastry.
had to do a
didn't we
croque
do things
monsieur.
at the same time but in different ways? So I'm sure, like, learning how to make water drinkable, dirty water, was, that over in Asia they invented tea, and that was a way to flavor. Whereas I think we started making beer more. It was more
I bet we did, yeah.
European to do beer and like learn the fermenting process for alcohol,
Mm.
but they'd made tea.
See, I always wonder about cheese because really
Mm,
that's just like a mold, isn't it? And
yeah.
it's an
Or,
incredibly tasty mold. But how the hell did that happen? Was it just
who,
someone who left it too long and was like, "Oh, I'm just going to eat this anyway. Hang on, I'm
Well,
going to
that
put
yeah,
this
that
on some
makes more
bread."
sense to me. But the one for me is like penicillin.
Mm.
Like
Yeah, it's literally
who?
how penicillin was invented, isn't it? Someone
Yeah,
found some bread and cheese in a cave and forgot about
No,
it and went back, and that was penicillin.
yeah, yeah. Like I don't know who went. Oh, do you know what? I think this is going to clear an infection. I've just got a feeling, this is going to be the thing that will clear an infection, and it will also potentially be the end of the human race in a few hundred years. But let's see how it goes. And my poor history knowledge there, I think, coming out. This is
maybe
not a history podcast.
isn't it? Fortunately, no. So, I mean, that was a weird tangent that we went on, but
I
Rosie
enjoyed
did.
it.
Yes, it's always fun to go down a rabbit hole. Rosie mentioned call centers, but I feel that needs a whole new episode. So we are going to wrap this one up and we're going to come back again and we're going to leave Rosie down here because she says that where you are in Scotland, Rosie, it's quite cold at the moment.
It's not as warm as it is where you guys are. I'm
No,
in
so
Edinburgh, and it's just a bit
Don't
cloudy.
the don't worry, because the lazy spa's arriving in a couple of days, so you'll be able to utilize that down the rabbit hole. We're just getting very summer ready. Got the hanging baskets arriving tomorrow. It's going to be very pleasant down the hole this time of year. So
Thank
just
goodness.
enjoy the holiday,
I've
Rosie.
got a couple of spare ice cubes I can throw down if that helps. I mean, I don't know how long they'll last.
Anything you can give me in this hole? Anything?
Well, I'm sure you'll find some remnants of the last authors that we've had as well. They've left their marks. So,
Yeah, they leave things behind.
yeah, like help me and things like that on the
Yeah,
wall.
yeah.
A little
Scratched
tally of the
out the
days. Yeah.
days that they were down here for.
So Rosie, your just before we go, your book is out now. So when listeners and viewers are watching this, they will be able to download it straight away.
Yes, my book is The Bride's Secret by Rosie Walker, and it is out now in in ebook and paperback, and there is an audiobook coming as well. Not sure of the date for that yet, but it's on the way.
Oh, excellent. So every format then.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Red Rabbit Holers. I'm trying out new things. Does that work for people, Red Rabbit Holers?
What if it's some sort of innuendo?
Okay, maybe not then. We want to keep it clean.
It might attract a certain crowd of people. As we
Maybe.
said, there's a crowd of people for everything, isn't there, out there? So maybe there are some red rabbit holers.
Well, you gotta try
We'll
these
be
things.
tuning in.
Yes, tune in next week because we're going to be talking about call centers and true crimes related to them. And
More exciting than you think. Just
it
gonna
is
lay that out
way more
there.
exciting than you think. And also you'll be able to check that Rosie is still alive and well. Fingers crossed, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.